In the heart of the Congo Basin, a baby gorilla slips into a muddy river, and crocodiles begin to close in. But what happens next defies everything we think we know about wild instincts. One massive gorilla charges into the chaos, unleashing a fury that leaves even the ranger watching in stunned silence. Was it survival, or something far deeper? This isn't just a rescue, it's a revelation. Could love and loyalty exist in the wild just as fiercely as in us? Tell us what you believe in the comments. The early morning haze curled gently above the treetops of the Congo Basin rainforest, softening the edges of towering canopies and dampening every sound. A hush settled over the mud-slicked riverbank, broken only by rustling leaves and the occasional deep grunt echoing through the forest. A troop of gorillas gathered at the river's edge, mothers with infants, juveniles clambering over boulders, and massive silverback figures surveying the distance. Their destination lay beyond the brown, swollen river, a rich foraging zone, full of sweet leaves and fruit they hadn't touched in weeks. The water, bloated from last night's downpour, moved deceptively slow. Its surface barely rippled, but the depth was unknown, and the secrets beneath it, unknowable. Clinging tightly to his mother's back, the baby gorilla peered over her shoulder with wide, curious eyes. His small hands tugged gently at her fur, unsure whether to hide or look. On the far bank, a ranger stood beside a camouflage tripod. A worn khaki shirt clung to his frame. His hands steadied a long-range camera as he whispered into a recorder. "I've been following this troop for 3 weeks now," he murmured. "This is their annual river crossing, always risky. But this year the water runs high." He adjusted his binoculars and zoomed in as the gorillas began to enter. The first few stepped carefully, chest puffed, knuckles sweeping through the mud. Water darkened their fur as they pushed forward. The baby gorilla clung tighter. The ranger's voice was almost lost in the wind. "The river hides what it wants, but nature never hides her truth." As more followed, their dark forms slowly vanished into the haze of mist and water. A silent procession of wild lives on a journey older than any map. The camera rolled. The river watched. And deep below, something stirred. Halfway through the crossing, the troop moved with focused determination. Water lapped at their shoulders now. Some reached for low branches hanging above, using them for balance. The baby gorilla still clung to his mother's back, but fatigue, fear, or perhaps simple clumsiness struck. His grip slipped. A sudden splash. A high-pitched cry. He vanished into the churning brown. Panic spread through the troop like lightning. The mother shrieked, spinning wildly. Nearby gorillas began grunting, roaring, splashing in confusion. On the far bank, the ranger froze. He adjusted his binoculars and saw only empty water. No, no, no. Then movement. Beneath the surface, shapes slithered closer, vague, shifting masses with long snouts and ridged backs. Crocodiles. "Damn it," the ranger gasped. He swung his camera toward the chaos. The lens zoomed in on the approaching death, sleek, silent, and fast. One crocodile surged upward, its eyes locked on the flailing baby gorilla. The ranger shouted across the water, though it was useless. "Get him! Move! He's right there!" But the gorillas didn't hesitate. From the rear of the group, a giant broke free, towering over the rest, his chest broad and arms massive. The gorilla charged forward. With one thunderous leap, he crashed into the deep river, water erupting around him. The baby gorilla squealed again, tiny arms flailing. A crocodile's jaw opened wide. And then, flash, a massive shadow intercepted. The camera shook as the ranger adjusted focus. He barely caught flashes of arms, scales, and surging waves. Roars, snarls, screams. In that moment, the ranger could no longer describe what he saw. Part of him wanted to drop the camera. Another part knew this might be the only time in his life he'd witnessed something like this. The camera rolled on, and the jungle held its breath. In the middle of the river, chaos reigned. The gorilla struck first. A booming roar sent shockwaves through the muddy air. He slammed his shoulder into the first crocodile, sending it spinning sideways in a spray of water. The baby gorilla clung to a drifting root nearby, whimpering. Another crocodile lunged. The gorilla turned with speed that defied his bulk and grabbed it, massive fingers closing around its torso. Then came the image the ranger would replay 1,000 times. The gorilla lifted the crocodile above his head. The beast thrashed, tail whipping. But the gorilla stood tall, water swirling around his chest, and let out a bellow that seemed to split the air. Every inch of him was wild fury, not blind but protective, purposeful. With a thud, he hurled the crocodile away. It vanished beneath the surface, not dead, but defeated. 3 more crocodiles circled, cautious now. But the troop had moved. They formed a wall of bodies in the shallows, stamping, growling, pounding the water to confuse and intimidate. The ranger, heart racing, captured each moment through his lens. "This isn't just instinct," he whispered into his recorder, voice cracking. "This is deliberate. He's protecting him. That's a choice." The baby gorilla's root drifted dangerously close to another predator, but the gorilla surged forward, scooped him up with one arm, and pulled him close to his chest. He didn't retreat yet. He stood there, chest heaving, scanning the water, daring anything else to come. His arms locked tight around the tiny figure in his grasp. Finally, the crocodiles disappeared, sliding backward into the depths like ghosts. The river calmed, and slowly, deliberately, the gorilla began to walk back toward the bank. The baby still clutched to his chest, wide-eyed but safe. The ranger lowered the camera. He couldn't speak. He couldn't move. He had just seen something far beyond nature documentaries. He had seen love roar. The troop reached the opposite bank in silence. Mud coated their fur. Leaves stuck to their backs. Their chests still rose and fell in post-battle rhythm. The baby gorilla was returned to his mother, who inspected him from head to toe with rapid touches and deep, relieved sounds. But the gorilla who had saved him stood alone for a moment, still at the water's edge, eyes scanning. Only when all was clear did he step on a land. Across the river, the ranger finally exhaled. He slumped to his knees, the camera in his lap. Hours later, he was back in his research tent. Hands trembling, he uploaded the footage. No narration, no edits, just raw truth. He hit send, and the world watched. Wildlife channels picked it up first. The gorilla lifting the crocodile, the protective roar, the circle of chaos. Conservation groups flooded the feed with messages of awe. Within a day, the gorilla was everywhere. Headlines shouted, "Gorilla rescues infant from crocodile ambush." "The river guardian of Congo." Proof of intelligence or something more? People didn't just watch, they shared. They cried. They debated. Was it instinct or love? But one thing was clear. The wild had spoken, and the world had listened. In the face of death, something had chosen to protect. Not for reward, not for glory, but because something deeper, primal, eternal, told it to. 3 days later, the ranger returned to the same spot. The river ran lower now, calmer. The prints of the troop remained along the shore, broad feet, tiny hand marks, the chaos of that moment now etched into the mud. He stood silently for a long while. There was no sign of the gorillas, just the stillness of the forest and the quiet memory of what had happened. He turned on his camera one last time, aiming it at the river, and began to speak. In the wild, there are no medals, no applause, no statues, only echoes. He panned slowly across the current. But sometimes those echoes reach our hearts and remind us what loyalty looks like, what protection really means, what courage feels like even when it's covered in mud. In the final footage he released, the baby gorilla was back with his mother, playful and safe. But close behind, just visible in the background, stood the same gorilla, quiet, watching. No role, no chistbiating, just presence. And that was enough. If this powerful act of wild bravery touched your heart, don't let it fade into just another video. Help us share the deeper truth behind it. The natural world is not just survival and instinct. It's loyalty. It's sacrifice. It's raw, unspoken courage that rivals anything we see in our own lives. When a gorilla charges into danger to protect the smallest among them, it reminds us that heroism is not limited to humans. It lives in the heart of the wild too. So if you believe these stories matter, if you felt something stir watching this moment unfold, please like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more breathtaking wildlife rescues. Because even the fiercest jungles, loyalty and courage still rise, and the greatest protectors wear no uniforms, only scars, mud, and heart.